What's up, Giants fans? One Giant Rebuttal here, back with another video. And yes, welcome to my courtroom. Yeah, it's my living room. Don't comment. But either way, who do I want to rebuttal today? Well, I was going to do, a rebuttal style where, I have the person in the corner and I'll let them have their spiel and then comment. But because of time constraints, because of length of video, I really can't do that with MiKeTooNice. And yes, sometimes I'll do something like I did with the Lisa Salter interview with Odell, and I'll splice up the clip and then edit it that way. But again, length of video, and I don't think it does any justice. So what I'm going to do for MiKeTooNice is, yes, I'm going to rebuttal your video, but I'm also going to leave a link in the description so people can see what I'm rebuttaling and why I'm rebuttaling. So, quickly, MiKeTooNice made a video basically saying the offseason moves that he would do to help the Giants along, or what he views is a problem. First, I want to touch on, he doesn't understand why we signed somebody like a Jonathan Stewart or a Patrick Omameh, and those are one of the first guys he cut, and I'm fine with him cutting those guys. Here's the problem there, MiKeTooNice. Those guys weren't so much signed to do great on the field. Yes, Patrick Omameh started at right guard, but clearly he wasn't the guy. But those guys were brought in because the biggest problem with the Giants, and the biggest problem Dave Gettleman thought, was the locker room. And in his press conference, he mentioned about last year's locker room. That's what he was trying to improve. That's why he did those signings. Because those guys are locker room guys. They're going to get things done. They're going to change that culture. And they did that successfully this season. So I commend Jonathan Stewart and Patrick Omameh. Next on, he touches on Eli Manning. He believes, just like Big Blue and Bias, that Eli Manning is largely to blame for this team. And he said last year we should have drafted a quarterback over a running back. And if you listen to previous videos, he wasn't crazy about the Saquon Barkley decision. Well, Mike, guess what? You're not paying a lot of attention, because when you only keep 8 players since 2011 that are currently on your roster, you're not doing very good. And yes, if you want to argue that it was 11 to start the season because we let go of 3 of them, okay, great job. But it doesn't matter. You have to keep more than 11 players through all those drafts. How you build your team is through the draft. Largely, it's Jerry Reese's fault. He either reached too far on guys or didn't do his due diligence. Whatever the reason, it's Jerry Reese's fault. Why the team is the way it is. He wasted Eli Manning's good years. After 2011, after the Super Bowl season, we weren't the same team. And yes, if you want to argue that Eli Manning's part of it in his decline, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Eli Manning hasn't declined. Do we have to replace him at some point? Yes, we do. But to sit there and largely blame Eli Manning for this team, you're not paying attention, you don't know football. But he did, as per se, he listed 4 quarterbacks that he would like to replace Eli Manning. First one being Nick Foles. I don't think Nick Foles is a possibility, my friend. I believe the Eagles will re-sign Nick Foles. It's a possibility we do sign him. Anything's possible in the NFL, but I don't see that happening. Number 2, he states Teddy Bridgewater. We all know that. He's going to be the most coveted free agent quarterback unless somebody else is let go. Here's the wrinkle in that one. Teddy Bridgewater is a possibility, and I wouldn't mind that either. But here's the wrinkle. If the Saints win the Super Bowl, I think Drew Brees might retire. He's never come out and said he's not going to retire. But there's a possibility. Maybe the Saints saw that. Maybe they jumped over the Teddy Bridgewater thing for a reason. Maybe he's clued into the Saints that he's going to retire. I hope he doesn't. I enjoy Drew Brees. And obviously when he gets a chance to sign Teddy Bridge. But either way, there's a wrinkle there. The next guy he talks about is Casey Keenum. But he prefaces it by saying if we're going to get Casey Keenum, we're going to also we also have to draft a quarterback like a Dwayne Haskins. Here's the problem with that, my friend. One, I don't like Dwayne Haskins. I think he's all but going to fail in the NFL. I believe Dwayne Haskins is another Jameis Winston. I see a loopy arm motion. I see questionable upper mechanics on especially on shorter throws, some on intermediate. Yes, I see all his stats. I don't trust Dwayne Haskins. If Dave Gettleman goes ahead and says, hey, yes, Dwayne Haskins is our number 6 pick. I'll go along with it, but personally, I don't trust the kid. But your Casey Keenum pick, if you're going to get Casey Keenum, because you think the Broncos are going to let him go or whatever the reason, why wouldn't you just keep Eli Manning? Casey Keenum is no better than Eli Manning. And you just re-sign Eli Manning for a lesser. Then he prefaces it by saying the last guy he'd go get is Jacoby Brissett, which I don't know if he's a free agent. I doubt he is, because I think he'd be mentioned. He'd be one of the top free agents. You're not going to go get Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he's stuck with the Colts for a little while. Moving on. Then he talks about guys that he wants on the roster. Cameron Fleming being one, a right tackle, and then another slot corner from the Chicago Bears as possibly. But he talks about giving a slot corner 3 years, $4 million annually. But then, because of Cameron Fleming and how he's getting paid now, obviously he's getting Cameron Fleming purely to replace Chad Wheeler. He says $2 million annually for 2 years. You're not going to sign Cameron Fleming for that. If Cameron Fleming is going to go on the market, it's not to be a backup right tackle. He's going to be a starting right tackle. He has the potential to be a starting right tackle. Look at your average starting right tackle wage. That's what you're going to have to pay Cameron Fleming, and I guarantee it's over $2 million. I don't even have to look at that to realize that. So, the guys you want to sign. Then he prefaced by... Basically, here's the thing that confuses me about his video. I mean, you guys can watch it, and I suggest you do. He goes on, and he shows the defense as a whole with only Sam Beal, and the dude that he wanted to sign as the Giants. He shows, defensive starters. But then he goes and previews the guys that will possibly be drafted, and he uses Walter Football to do it, and other websites. I don't get the point of that. Because one of the guys he has us taking is Devin White. Devin White is going to be a day one starter. Why wouldn't you put him on that roster? And then he, talks about, us taking some offensive linemen and whatnot. But overall, Mike, you don't know the problem with the Giants that well. Now, I don't mind some of your signings. They're okay. Some of them I can see, some of them I can't. The fact that you just... I'm not an Eli Manning lover, okay? If you know... And I suggest you go back and look at some of my content to see I'm not an Eli Manning lover. But I am going to defend Eli Manning just a bit. Why? Because if you're going to do any of these things, and you're going to either take Casey Keenum or Jacoby Brissett, why not keep Eli Manning? That's my argument. If you want to draft a quarterback to get and use Eli Manning as a stopgap, that's fine. Or even have Eli Manning start next year and take the better quarterback in 2020. Because he also talks about other potential teams moving up in the draft to go get not Jacoby Brissett, sorry. Go get Dwayne Haskins. Okay, let them. I think Dwayne Haskins is largely going to be a failure in the NFL. I can easily see him being a washout like Jameis Winston. I do not want Dwayne Haskins. Unless Dave Gettleman tells me he does his due diligence, the scouts do all their scouting and say, Dwayne Haskins is an absolute monster in the NFL. He's going to be the next, quarterback of the Giants, and we believe in him. Then I'll hold my breath for the next 2 years until what I believe will come to fruition, and Dwayne Haskins will not be the starter for the Giants. But then at that point, you've wasted the 2020 draft, because if you're going to take Dwayne Haskins this year, you're surely not going to get Tua. You're surely not going to get Herbert or Fromm or anybody else. The time to take a quarterback is in 2020. Either way, guys, I hope you like and subscribe, and go Big Blue!